After Hours.
On this episode of the History of the Corps After Hours podcast, we discuss the legendary backwoods band known as Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurviveByPro for news and latest episode postings. And make sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star review, and write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. And if you'd like to see us do some live streams, leave us a comment or tweet us the keyword stream. Now, without further ado, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta. Army surrounded.
Welcome back to the History of the Corps After Hours podcast, where each and every episode, I, Curtis, sit down with my good friend and avid listener to the History of the Corps podcast, Erik. What's up, buddy?
Oh, pollen counts, temperatures. It's wonderful.
I'm
Great time to be alive.
surprised. I'm surprised I'm not dying, man, from the pollen. That tree pollen's killing me, man. Or was.
Yep.
But it's
Tis the season.
'Tis the season. You have Christmas, and then you have spring and fall time where the allergies are rampant. Yeah.
The trees try to kill me.
The trees. Murder. The trees
Murderers
are
in
murdering
the air.
people. Murderous Trees. It's a band name. We're taking it. Copyrighted.
Yes.
Murderous Trees. Speaking of
Death
trees.
metal.
Speaking of trees, Erik, let's talk about a little band known as a little backwoods band, actually. That's how the trees are connected. Anyway, let's talk about the band known as Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. Erik, I always like to start out an episode with two simple questions. They're very simple. Don't complicate them. They're very simple.
Too late. Already complicated.
How were you, Erik, introduced to the band known as Maylene and the Sons of Disaster?
It is hard to say. I've been listening to him for a long time now. Probably 07 to 09, somewhere in that region. It could have been you or Josh that said, hey, listen to these weird guys. And it could have been a high school buddy of mine named Cliff. And I've no idea which, but it stuck. Listened to him for a long time now.
I thought maybe Cliff found out about him through us, you and me, but maybe I'm wrong.
That could be too. I don't know.
That.
It's been so long, I don't remember the chain of events anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you too about what time period. So 2007, that would be during this second album. Good album. Great
07,
album.
09, about that.
Well,
yeah.
We'll get there. So you're coming in about 2 and 3. So that's not a bad
right
time period,
in between
man.
2 and 3 there.
Yeah, not a bad spot to be.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
so obviously you've listened to him for a while now, Erik. Brand new listener comes up to you. They ask you, "Hey, I'm about to go listen to Maylene. What am I getting myself into?" How would you describe Maylene and Sons of Disaster to that person?
Well, quite obviously the best band ever.
Whoa!
Maybe not ever, but they
Shots
are definitely
fired, man.
better
I'd say
than
the
they're
Piano
probably
Man?
always definitely better than Piano Man, in my opinion. Better than the Rocket Man. Shoot.
Shoot.
We're shooting all kinds of shots today. But,
it's something we talked about before, people. It's
yeah.
You had to be there before the recording started.
Well, just include it all. It'll be great.
Right.
But they are definitely probably a top 5 of mine all-time favorite bands.
Nice.
I don't know where they fall in that. I'd have to take an account in my poor little brain.
Right.
But if I was going to just describe them based on what they sound like and their merits rather than my personal feelings, just Southern metalcore. Simple as that. They do get into a little radio rock a little bit later on, but
yeah,
first 3 albums, Southern metalcore.
Okay. Simple, right? Straightforward.
It's pretty simple.
That's what Maylene is to me. They're very simple. They're very, here's what it is. No tricks, no parlor tricks, man. We're just laying it down, man. We're just laying it down.
It is.
You said top five, and it made me think of I don't remember what it was, a previous episode of History of the Cores, where I'd asked Josh if a certain band was like, oh, it was Impending Doom. That's who it was. If it was like his favorite band, and he goes, I think he said no, and so I was like, ooh, top five, nah, top 10, yeah, or something like that, and I said, well, we're about in that. He's like, well, if I start doing that, then I have to make hard decisions, and people are gonna get
Yes.
pissed off, and it's like, okay. So anyway,
Well,
that
this
just came
band,
back to
speaking
mind
of
there.
top five, this
Yeah.
band is why I went with the streaming service I went with back in that point in time. I looked into one and I was like, they have like part of one that I can listen to back to back to back, like as an album, which the way you
Mm.
should. Looking at all of you, but don't just scramble it and listen to little bits and pieces. Listen to it as they put it out. Try it; it'll blow your mind. But anyway, so I like to listen to as albums, and they had like part of, I think it was three. Two was completely locked out. I had to scramble it and mix it up with other stuff, like a radio mix or something.
Yeah.
And then I forget what the deal was with one, and then four was completely unavailable. I was
And
like,
where was this at?
okay. I think that was Pandora.
Ugh.
Like it was all kinds of weird at the
Oh
time.
my
I don't know if they
gosh.
fixed it or not, but I ended up going a different direction from that because I was like, we can't be having that. At that point
Yeah,
in time, I was
that's
streaming them a lot. So
that's really weird.
yeah,
Hmm.
it was strange.
I I had a thought and then I lost it. Oh well.
We'll find it
Yeah,
later.
oh, I know what it was. You were talking about you gave your little public service announcement there of playlists and shuffles and listening to full albums all the way through. It made me think, a lot of people sometimes, or I've even seen, I think on Spotify's playlists that are called like workout playlists, and I know people that's like they'll listen to music while they're working out, and it's just kind of a shuffle of like, maybe something heavy or whatever, rap, hip hop, whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, when I want to listen to music when I'm working out, I normally don't put it on shuffle. Normally, I do a full album, something like that, or it's just like as heavy as like one of Maylene, she's like all the way through. It's like, yeah, Anyway, carrying on, carrying on. All right, I'm going to start us out here with a quote from the vocalist Dallas Taylor, and we'll just kind of have an open discussion here. Quote, what has always struck me about the Ma Barker story is how much it symbolizes the idea of what goes around comes around. Divine justice is unavoidable. When I was a kid, I would see reenactments of the Barker shooting in Alcala every year with my grandpa. And it was as if Ma Barker and her sons were still screaming their story to anyone who would listen. Maylene and the Sons of Disaster is made up of 5 dudes who play the role of the Barker sons. And in these songs, we speak as though we were them, telling anyone who would listen that a life lived unjustly will meet divine justice on the other side. We also wanted to think of the most crazy backwoods theme possible for this band. Since Ma was backwoods and we're backwoods, this is the way it had to be. That's him talking about kind of the background on their name. When were you confused as I was when you first heard the name Maylene and the Sons of Disaster? Because I was always like,
I was just,
I'd never heard the name Maylene period before. And I was always kind of like, I wonder where they came up with that. And it finally dawned on me in doing notes for this episode that they're from, the band is based out of Birmingham, Alabama. And if you go just south, I think a county south, there's kind of a unincorporated community um, called Maylene, Alabama. And I thought, okay, that's probably where they got that name from, at least. Now, I could be wrong, not confirming it. Somebody from the band wants to come on here and confirm it for me, and That'd be great.
Or refute it. We'll take that too.
Or review it, either one, man. You can say it to my face, either way, as long as you get on the podcast. Um, no, I always kind of wonder. Maybe it's like, okay, maybe that's where they came from. But yeah, it always confused me. I was like, wonder where they got this name from. Because I get the Sons of Disaster part, being tied with the actual Mob Barker story and everything. But yeah, I was always kind of confused about the mailing part. But I didn't know if you had that thought too. But
Yeah, I always thought it was all a mouthful for sure.
right.
But it's I always thought it was kind of cool though. I mean,
It's every time I remember the first
other
time
than
I
when I'm
seen
trying
it,
to
it was
type it and
like
trying to find it.
it's like it's a lot of typing. That's
Yeah,
why I end up
yeah.
doing like notes. I just end up doing like Matt Sod for their little acronym. But yeah. Okay, so I want to kind of ask you about the story, of Ma Barker and just kind of like that background to have. Because again, it's like I look at the name Maylene Son of Disaster, and it's kind of like that's pretty cool. It's like different, It almost makes you think of like oh, I can't think of a band name right off the top of my head now, but like something where it's like it's the lead vocals or lead vocalist name and the blank blank blanks, something kind of along the lines of that. But I mean, they're all together, it's not really this guy's standing out more than the others. But then on top of that, you put this loosely based backstory to their whole existence. Um, and you kind of get some sprinklings here and there throughout the albums of actual ties to their roles as the sons, along with some other things, like you said, the divine justice stuff and what goes around comes around, such. Um, but when you discovered that, the story of Ma Barker and her sons was kind of behind this band, did that just kind of like draw you in even more?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I
just,
thought that was really cool.
yeah,
I mean,
that's just sick,
living
man.
in Oklahoma, we've got places where this gang in particular hung out. We got
Yeah,
I think it was Jesse James hung out
I believe
down in
so. Yeah.
there's actually a cave called Robbers Cave down in South
Mhm.
Oklahoma, and that's apparently where I think that was Jesse James, if I remember correctly. Had a little
I'm
hideout
pretty
for
sure
a
you're
minute.
right. Yeah.
And I mean, so just coming from that kind of background, having that kind of all around us, that's pretty cool. And like I said, it just kind of drew me in a little bit more,
I think
other than the fact they're already fantastic.
yeah, I think I talked to you more on the history side here of, like Ma Barker and her gang being here, back in even like that time when they were around in like the 30s, you talk about Oklahoma in like the 20s, the oil boom, and even before that, when it was just Indian territory before statehood. I mean, there's a lot of like, outlaws and rebels that would come through here and just hang out because, it was just Indian territory and nobody really had any jurisdiction around here. Or yeah, just kind of the oil boom just kind of drew a lot of different types of people around.
The
Kind of
good, the
like
bad, and the ugly.
exactly, kind of like the gold rush, in California back in the
Oh
day.
yeah.
But all right, so let's talk a little more about the band, history aside now. Talk to me, Eric, about what you hear in the evolution of Dallas Taylor's vocal style coming from Under Oath, which it's still, and you and I have had discussions about this. It's still weird to think that, oh man, that's Dallas Taylor back in the day, And especially like when we first got into Under Oath, it was like, what? That's Dallas Taylor? Okay. But his vocal style coming from Under Oath, where it's more just kind of a straight up screamo style, to really redefining himself in Maylene and the Sons of Disaster, where it's more of kind of like, on number one, it's more of just like an all out raw scream. He's in that
That
age of just like, just do it as gnarly as you can, right? And
that horse
then,
barking.
exactly, yeah. That subhuman cry of a gorilla,
Yes, yes.
um, then he kind of reinvents himself a little bit more. They go more kind of melodic in two and three, and then four goes off the rails. But anyway, talk to me
Really,
about
really
what you
melodic.
hear. Yeah, tell me about what you hear in the evolution of Dallas's vocals.
Well, I didn't even realize for the longest time that was Dallas back in Under Oath. Like one of my favorite songs from Under Oath is "When the Sun Sleeps." I did not realize that was his uncleans because they're so different from, you know, Maylene.
Right.
And coming from Maylene, jumping back and forth between them, I was like, "No,
Well,
that's not the same guy." It
and
took
then not
me years to
even
really realize that was the same guy.
right, not even that. It's like you take that song, go look at the music video, and there's times where they kind of get close up on his face. You take like a picture of him like there, and then like a picture from one or two where he's got the long hair and the beard. It's like this is two totally different guys. What happened?
There's
It's
no
almost like he
way.
went
Yeah.
through puberty in between that time or something. Uh,
Maybe.
yeah.
But yeah, definitely I can hear the youth in his voice from the Silverstein, the Under Oath days. And you
He
tell
was
what
in
I was listening to
Silverstein?
today? Oh yeah, that was him. Don't you know?
Uh,
But yeah, you can tell what I'm listening to today.
yeah.
But he definitely found his voice in Maylene. Definitely, you can see the progression after hitting Maylene 1, going a little more melodic in 2 and 3. They kind of stick around the same level melodically, and then jumping feet first into the melodic 8-foot deep pool.
Right.
Way into it. And then this last little EP they put out seems to be going back closer to like somewhere between 1 and 2 for me anyway. That's where it feels. As far as more raw, more metalcore-y, less
Yeah.
melodic-y.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting hearing his vocals through Under Oath into Maylene, and then throughout the four albums on Maylene too. But speaking of those four albums, Eric, we see the band go from straightforward Southern metal all the way to toned down, radio friendly rock music. Talk to me, Eric, about the change that you hear over their four albums, and do they progress or regress in that time, in your opinion? Or maybe a little bit of both. I don't know.
I think it's
It's
a
a
pretty
roller
good
coaster.
progression. It is a roller coaster for me, yeah. 1 through 3 is the definite progression. You feel A, B, C. It builds.
Right.
4, it's not like necessarily. Let's get my hand in here. Not going necessarily straight up. It's like a left turn, and here we
Okay.
go off to the side.
Right.
Because it's different. It's a whole different kind of album, different kind of music. In fact,
Right.
the fact that I heard it on the radio blew my mind when I heard that. I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
But I did spend a lot of time on 4 when it first came out. I can still sing 90% of the lyrics.
Well, and I
It is
talked to you
it is
before.
kind of neat to have a sing along type
Right.
because
Yeah.
a lot of the early stuff, not exactly a sing along unless you're got a lot of water handy and yeah.
My voice is
So
destroyed afterwards. I sound like I smoked a whole pack of cigarettes.
but if I'm in the mood for Maylene, typically I'm going for 1, 2, or 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Not usually 4.
Yeah.
If it comes on, that's one of those that if it comes on, like one song comes on in a mix, like my new music searches, I'll let it mix and go afterwards, see what's out there. And if one from 4 comes on, I'm like, we'll let it ride.
Well, this is not in our notes here. This is off the top. And it's more
Here we
just
go.
like it's more of a yes or no kind of, I mean, short answer really. But it pertains to 4. I remember the band and even Dallas Taylor came out by himself and said it. They were like, this is going to be our best album, to date or whatever. And me and Josh talked about that. It's like, why do bands do this? It's like, it's almost like now I'm to the point where if a band says that, that's a red flag to me. I'm like, I'm really on guard
Full
now.
stop. Wait.
Are you kind of the same way? Or
I'm
you just
getting
kind of
there,
like let
yeah.
it flow? Yeah,
I'm
I told Josh, it's like,
if
just
I
let
start
it
hearing
be.
that,
Why do bands gotta do this? Like, just let it be. I think Devil Wears Prada did that on their last album, Color Decay. It's like, don't say that. It's like
Yeah.
you don't need to tell me what it's going to be. I'm the listener. I'm the one who's buying it. Let me decide if I like it or not, you know. But
Yeah.
anyway, and yeah,
If I
we
hear that anymore, it's like cautiously optimistic. Okay, let's move
right,
into the album. I'm not expecting to be blown away at this point because they told me it's going to be the best ever, which
right,
means we're talking mediocre, subpar at best
right. Yeah.
from past
Yeah,
experience. That's
right. You talk about the climb or the straight line with the first three albums, and then instead of just kind of branching out, yeah, that we talk about that a lot. It's like, man, you kind of have this little bit of grace where it's like, you can kind of branch out a little bit, but it's like, yeah, on four they went like hard right, man, or hard left, either one.
it was a
But
90-degree
total
turn.
90-degree angle. Yeah, it's abrupt. Yeah, not good.
Yeah,
Eric, Maylene has a lot of bangers in their discography. We can both agree with that, correct?
I think so.
But I always go back to the intro track on their third album, Waiting on My Deathbed, especially that opening scene where the band did a great job, in my opinion, of painting a picture for the listener. When I listen to that song, I can see in my mind the sons running from the law as the sound of the woods comes alive. Ooh, alive with the sound of music. And I always felt like when the banjo kicked in, that was like a shotgun blast. Um, or no. And the banjo kicks in, and then once the band came in, that's when it was. When the full band came in, that's
Right.
where I always pictured a shotgun blast. Like whoever's like running away, one of the sons gets like shot, and for me, that really solidifies the defining song that represents Maylene and Sun Disaster and their background, their story, what they're trying to go for. Um, is there another song that really tells their story, other than this one, or is it this one that does it for you too? What is it, Eric? Let us know.
That one does it pretty good, but I always go back to Tale of the Runaways.
Okay.
As far as the story that I know of them, anyway, because I don't know every little intricacy. I'm not a historian by any
Right.
stretch, but
Right.
um, I can hear it. I can feel them running from the law. The overall somber feel of the song,
Right.
sounds like they're losing the fight day to day, losing a brother here and there along the way. You know, the one
I
brother
mean,
left after Ma. You
right.
know,
We all, I mean, if you know about the Ma Barker story, it doesn't end well. They all die, justice prevails.
even the
And
even the
so
one who
they
lasted years later did
right,
not meet a kind.
right. They and the band reflects that in every album. They always end in a somber way with either an acoustic track or, just a full-blown instrumental or
Mhm.
a weird sound effect on number four, whatever that's going. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Um, so Tale of the Runaways. Okay. Yeah, that's always a good one, man. That was a
Yeah,
good
I do
jam
like
back
that.
in the
That's
day
a
too.
good one. Oh yeah,
Is that your favorite acoustic from Maylene? Acoustic exit song, finisher, whatever you want
yeah,
to
I
say.
think it is.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It's pretty good. It is great.
All right. Well, we've talked about vocal styles, we've talked about music, we've talked about songs. Let's talk about the album artwork now, Eric. Let's put this all together. Because again, it's like they've done a good job in their music. The like we just mentioned, the album structure of ending every album somberly because that's what happens in the real story. It doesn't end well. Um,
Not at all.
just I mean, look at the guy behind me. He's wearing an eye patch. I mean, that to me that lends to the story now. I didn't get that eye
It's
patch.
not
Well,
for
it's a
looks.
weird story. Yeah, it's not for looks, man. Um, but now the album artworks. This to me puts the bow on top of the present. Um, Personally, music aside, just looking at the albums, I think number two and number four show the best representation of the concept story that they're going for. Number one's good. The one thing I do like about number one goes along with number four also is they both have a vinyl outline to them. You can see the vinyl record. That's pretty cool. We've talked about before too of number one's got a little sale price sticker on too, which is that's kind of cool. Um, number three is good too. It still gives me that southern backwoods feel with just like the bridge in the background. I remember Josh telling me that the lyric booklet was kind of disappointing for number three, which was really sad. Number two, like, whoo, that's a good one, man. I still have it. But it's just like a bunch of different scenes of like either backwoods or like the band members being shot and everything. But give me your thoughts, Eric, on which album artwork represents the story best and which overall is your favorite.
So I think as far as the concept goes, I think you're right as far as 2 and 4, they fit the bill the best. I mean, you got the brothers, you got the scene, the backwoods. I mean, it all fits real well. As far as my favorite artwork goes, though, I think it's got to be 1. It's got that
Okay.
worn record look. It's got your dime store sticker in the corner. Got that suck out the poison vibes from He Is Legend.
Yeah. Like you, what
So
do you describe before as like a sepia tone
yeah, it's
kind
got
of,
that
yeah,
weird tone,
color
kind of brownish
filter?
tones to it.
Yeah.
So again, leaning over to that kind of really cool old school southerny look to it,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That one's a good one. It disappoints me because of what you get next on like two, where it's like they're all being dragged through the woods by
I
their
mean,
hunters, and then number four, it's like they got the burlap sacks on their heads, which is weird because it's like now it's reversed, where it's like the band members act like they're the ones who were hunting the guy. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but it's number one's still good. It's just kind of like where it goes with number two is like, looking back, yeah, man, it's still good, but yeah, cool, man.
right.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those two where it's like just like looking at the album artwork too, and like flipping through the lyric booklet and seeing all the pictures while you're listening really, really
Oh
helps.
yeah.
I feel like, but all right, Eric, here we go. Let's see if you can figure out the one and only trivia question on this episode. You ready?
Oh, so ready. Got my cheat sheet here. Ready,
What
ready, ready, go.
what
Hello?
vocalist from a band that we have covered in an episode of both History of the Chorus podcast and History of the Chorus After Hours podcast filled in for Dallas Taylor on vocals on tour after the release of album number 3?
I believe we talked about his band already, didn't we?
We did. We did.
Oh,
Yes, we
okay.
did.
I think it's we've had some discussion on how to just say his name, but I think it's Skylar Krumer.
Yeah, I still don't. How do you get that from that spelling though, man?
Not quite Schuler.
Schuyler. To me, that is Schuler. I don't know. Skylar Groom,
You got
yes.
me.
What band? What band is it?
What?
What band is it?
Oh, He Is Legend?
Yes, there you go. There you go. I like
Okay.
it.
I was like, suck out the
Now,
poison? Wait, no, that's not
kind
the
of
band.
Suck Out the Poison's new album, He Is Legend. Could work.
Epic.
That could work. Um for as strange as the guy is, Skylar Kroom, I could see him having a band known as Suck Out the Poison. He's like, yeah, do it. Um, Kind of a strange background though. Like at that time when Dallas went out and Skylar came in, there was no original members left in the band. It's kind of like,
That's weird.
I really probably should have. I mean, like, if you want to go on tour, that's fine, but you probably should have put on the bill cover band of Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. I think the one name that I
Right.
kept coming up with was Marlene because my every time like I wanted to autocorrect to Marlene instead of Maylene. So that's what they should have gone. Marlene and the Sons of Disaster, a Maylene and the Sons of Disaster cover band. Would have been nice, but it would have been pretty cool to hear Skylar do vocals, see how he would have turned out. But
I have to
all
look up some
right,
of that concert footage there.
yeah, we'll see if we can
That'd be
find
pretty
some.
good.
All right, Eric, let's talk future. Got a new single, Burn the Witches. You've kind of mentioned it already earlier. Um, but go a little bit more into detail about what you think about it, pros, cons, so on and so forth.
Not a bad song as a whole, but 2 years down the road here, it's kind of left me hanging. We've
Yeah.
talked about it before. You and Kurt, or you and Josh have talked about it before. It might be a cash grab for this little tour they're going on here,
Yeah.
but I still might go. It's one of those things.
Okay.
It might be the
You
last
still
time.
you still on the fence?
I'm still on the fence right now. Yeah, might be the last time I get to see, Maylene performing as something near Maylene
Right.
and not just the Dallas show.
Right.
So even if it is just the Dallas show with brand new members behind him,
Right. Yeah. I mean, only
So
original guy.
yeah,
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's just tough.
like I said, I might go see it. We'll see yet. Like I said,
Okay.
I'm still sitting on
He's
the
still on
fence
the
about it.
fence.
I'd like to see some new stuff before, but I think they're already starting
They
that
better
tour
hurry
real
up,
soon if they
buddy,
haven't.
because best say I think they may already be started, if I remember correctly.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it would be unprecedented. I seen Silverstein in 2016,
Mhm.
and the night I saw them, they actually dropped, or the day before I saw them, actually, I guess they dropped Ghost. That that
That's
was the single
single.
from that album. Yeah.
Well, that's
So I mean, it
weird though.
would
You
be
would,
unprecedented,
yeah, but
and they
that's
were
weird
on
to
tour.
drop a single in the middle of a tour, though. Feel bad for all the people that have already seen them in that tour, and they're like, "What the heck? Why didn't we get to hear it?"
No,
Yeah,
we
that's kind of
didn't. We
strange.
got to hear it.
I'm like, no, no,
Sucks
we
for
did.
y'all.
You suck.
So yeah, it was
Um,
odd, but it's not unprecedented. So
right. Okay, so give me
we'll,
give me
we'll
your
see.
give me your gut feeling here. I mean, because you already mentioned the cash grab, no cash grab. Do you
Yeah,
honestly see Maylene putting out a full length album in the future, or is this what they are now? Are we just like, maybe we'll throw out a single every once in a while to keep you dangling, keep you,
dangling in front of me here. Yeah,
exactly, yeah. Or are we actually gonna get a full length? What's your gut feeling?
I'd like to see a number 5 somewhere in the future, but at this point, I don't know. I mean, if they're going to tour and go out every Christmas and play a Christmas song or a Christmas tour, whatever, once nothing. Yeah, I'm talking to
Yeah, I was
y'all.
gonna say sounds like you're doing once nothing.
If y'all could come down here and do a little Christmas show, I'd be cool with that. But anyway, uh, or anywhere near here, actually. But you guys let me know. Come on. Don't just, pin it up, bottle it up, and say, we might do this. We might do that.
Yeah,
Who knows? Let me know. As a fan, as an old fan, I do want to know. If you want to just tour your old stuff, do it, dude. I'm totally down for that. I want to know. Where are we at?
give me your plans. Yeah, just a
I
year
don't
or
need
two
all the
out. What's
plans.
your plans? Yeah,
I just need to know, are we going to make new music or are we just going to tour the old stuff? Are we going to dangle the bait in front of us with the one EP here and there?
right.
I want to know. That's all.
Yeah, that's
I'm a simple
that's
man.
my feelings, man. Is just I don't understand the secrecy. It's like just tell me. I mean, I'm with you. It's just like you don't have to tell me every little detail, but it's like if you're working on something, even if you're working on another single or two singles or whatever, it's like tell me. Just tell me, hey,
Yeah.
we're working on some stuff. Okay. I mean, working on
Cool.
some stuff is
That's got
broad.
me on
That's
board.
broad, man. That's cool. Whatever.
Yep.
But don't just be like, no, I mean, this past like tease, dude. I was
Yeah.
so mad when it came out. It was like, oh my gosh, okay. This is either gonna be a single or an album, right? Right? No, it's a tour. I've never seen anybody announce a tour in that way. Dude,
I mean, they are coming
and
back from the dead, essentially. What was it?
yeah,
2016. They went kind of defunct, I guess.
yeah.
So, I mean, Yeah.
But again, it's like
Yeah.
you drop that last single 2 years ago, and all we've gotten is a couple of festivals and one-offs here and there. This is their first full tour in since whatever, 15, 14,
Yeah. I forget the
maybe
exact date
16.
now, but
Yeah, it's been a long while.
since his
It's
wreck.
like, ah, man, I don't know. I just
Yeah.
don't get it. I just don't get it. And I'll tell you what else, Eric. If they came out and they said we're going to do an album, you and I think both will agree. We'll go in cautiously optimistic,
Right.
very cautious.
Especially if he tells
If
me it's going to be the best ever.
Oh gosh, oh I may be out if somebody tells me that. I'm like, nope, I'm
Nope.
done.
Nope. Hang it
Uh,
up.
if I find out that they are naming this album anything else besides five, I will be done. I won't even take a single listen to the album. So yeah, two things that are gonna like totally check me out is if you tell me it's the best album that you've ever written, or if you name it anything besides five. So that's all I'm gonna say. All right, let's end this episode on a happy note, Eric. Give me some of your favorite albums, songs, lyrics, riffs, so on, and so forth.
And yada and yada. Okay.
There we go. Perfect.
Let's see. We got as far as albums go, I tend to get stuck on 2 and 3 as a whole. I'm feeling Maylene today. It ends up being 2 or 3 typically.
Okay.
And I think just right now it gets stuck more on 3 for me. So I'll go with that for my favorite for today.
Okay.
That's the first 3 are all, 100% plays all the way through every time. So it's not easy to pick between them, but anyway, far as lyrics, I really like. Here's some from Waiting on My Deathbed. Not proud of everything I've done, but at least you know I've done it well. Feels like I'm walking on a tightrope. Can't step on either side. I am a hollow man, but you still know who I am.
You know me.
And that
You
delivery,
know me.
that delivery.
Oh yeah. That's
I
that's
love
the
the way
one
he
thing. It
puts
takes
that
it
in
up a
there.
notch,
Oh,
man. Ooh. I can feel him walking that tightrope in that song, man. Especially on that chorus.
oh yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. That chorus has a hook and it's set
So
deep.
sick, man. So sick.
So let's see. The next one is from The Old Iron Hills. You ready for this?
Go for it.
Keep staring that gift horse in the mouth, boy. He's smiling back at me for everything I take for granted.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one. That's
Yeah,
very
nice.
Southern of them. Does anybody outside Southerners know what a gift horse even is? No? Okay.
We're
I'll
waiting
keep
for the
on that.
response.
Hit us in
We'll
the
give you
comments down
time
below
to,
there.
yeah,
Right,
we'll give you a
right
few
there.
seconds here.
So, far as favorite songs go, you ready for this?
I'm ready. We doing 3?
Let's do 3.
No, is that what you want to do? We can do 5. I don't care.
We can do 25 if you like.
Number 3.
Hell on the Rise from number 1.
Oh,
Good stuff. I
Wars
like
with
that one quite a bit.
halos, wishing for
Wishing
wings.
for wings.
The children yearning
for
for their disease.
disease.
Ugh. The way he says disease.
still need to look-
Disease. God,
Oh yeah. I
like
still need to
bites
look
you, man.
up. Yes. I need to look up that one from Once Nothing that I was like, it's kind of like a
Yeah,
two parts of
we
the
need to figure
thing.
that out, man. Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, we
I
gotta
need to see
figure that
them
out.
together doing this like co-op song type deal. That would be sick. But anyway, getting back to it. Number 2.
Number 2.
Listen Close from number 3.
I remember you saying
I
that you like
like
this
it.
song a lot. Yeah.
I always have.
Yeah. I told Josh it's a good song and I like it, but it always knowing like listening to all 4 albums and knowing what's coming up in number 4, it was like I listen to that song and I'm like, I feel like they're starting to kind of turn the page towards this direction, of kind of that, because that kind of gives me a little bit of a radio friendly, vibe to it. But still a good song though.
It's closer, but it's got Southern Pines and Neon Signs,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
back
Oh
row
yeah.
between the two.
Right.
Out of sight, don't be out of mind to me.
Right.
But anyway, and then at the end they got that kind of wah talk box type thing going on in the guitar.
Featuring Bon Jovi.
Yeah, right. I was like, that is sick. You just don't get that with a lot of metalcore sounding bands.
Right. No.
That's just a really great deal. So get into number one.
Number one
would be Waiting on My Deathbed.
Woo, doggy.
That is like the song.
Mm.
That's those two right there, back to back. Not back to back. You know what I'm saying?
They faced each other. They drew their swords and shot each other.
There you go. Perfect. It's like a little story. But those two there. That's probably why I spin three so often.
Okay.
Those two songs are fantastic.
Yeah.
Need more every day.
Man, one that always sticks in my head, because I don't know if I want to say it's my favorite Maylene song, but one of the songs that always comes in my head when I think of Maylene is Darkest of Kin. Just that riff, dude, was like down, down. Oh my gosh, man.
It's clean,
that song hits
but it's
so
dirty.
hard. Yeah, it's so dirty,
that
man.
is a good riff.
Like
I said, it's clean, it's crisp, but it's dirty. It's like, I don't know how you do that, but I love it.
It's so simple too, man. It's just
oh yeah,
such a good song. But anyway.
Yep.
All right, Eric, final thoughts on the band known as Maylene and the Sons of Disaster.
Give them a shot if you haven't already. They're you like a little bit of Southern.
I guess try them out.
That'd be all right. But give it a shot. It's worth a try.
Good summertime band.
I don't think you'll be wasting your time. I mean, I guess more fall, and that's probably because fall. I don't know. You think about the covers and the cover art and things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
You think about you got the crunchy leaves under your feet. Well, eventually,
fall will be here eventually. Maybe
the
maybe the waiting on the deathbed part with the crickets and everything. That's more your summertime.
That's true.
That's what I always think of. But yeah, I get what you're saying. If I want to fall, I'm thinking more too because of some of the pictures and everything. Be dragged through the leaves and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah. So cool. All right, Eric. Let's get on out of here. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at @IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings, not just on this show, but our other shows as well. We have the History of the Chorus podcast where me and Josh sit down and go through the history of a band from the core genre. We also have the Red Right Hand podcast, which has covered all 6 seasons. Hopefully, fingers crossed, a movie eventually. Of the BBC/Netflix hit show, The Peaky Blinders. We also have the Throne of the Dragon podcast, which so far has covered season 1 soon. Very, very soon. To be season 2 of HBO's House of the Dragon. And in the off season, we are covering George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood chapter by chapter. Also, while you're on Twitter, make sure to follow my co-host at Joshua Lynn Gary. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review, write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. And if you want to listen to us and see our smiling faces, there it is. Look at that. Head on over to our YouTube page. Just search Is Survived by Productions. That'll have every episode from all of our shows. Subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up the video. Okay, until then, me and Dallas Taylor and Eric signing off.